Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We'd also like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the running of the BBC and Channel 4. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. In today's video, we will be looking at Lewis Hamilton and the desperate search for redemption, 3 years on from Abu Dhabi. Despite Liberty Media's extensive media control, F1 has struggled to shake off the corruption stigma, as Abu Dhabi has become synonymous with the theft of Lewis Hamilton's 8th title. John Malone, the owner of Formula One, made the first of several serious miscalculations that he has made in recent times, when he thought the public outrage from robbing Sir Lewis would blow over in no time. Shortly after Abu Dhabi, he made another one, when he bought CNN and thought he could use them to launder his pal Donald Trump by giving him a town hall. Well, that went down like a lead balloon, as CNN's reputation and ad revenue plummeted faster than you could say karma. And now that Malone has decided to attempt to subvert the will of the British public by trying to install Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, it remains to be seen whether Keir Starmer and his Labour government will fight back or bend the knee. As far as F1 is concerned, it is clear from Abu Dhabi and Crashtappen's contrived titles that Malone has put a system in place to rig races, WWE style. The master plan was to fast-track Spoonstappen to 7 titles, so they could manifest their prediction that he was the next great white hope. But alas, the loss of revenue and viewers forced them to take their thumb off the scale for Red Bull and place it on that for McLaren instead. The speed with which Red Bull's performance dropped off, after a quiet chat with the FIA, and McLaren self-regulated themselves to fend off public scrutiny, says it all really. The long and short of it is that Verstappen will get his 4th contrived title, while McLaren will get the constructors' title for their loyal service. These are the liberties that Liberty Media is taking with Formula One under John Malone. This US media baron, who is desperate to gaslight Abu Dhabi, believes that he can use his platform to make people believe whatever he wants, but F1 is bigger than America, and the Italians will defend their champion more passionately than the Brits and Germans did. He tried to tell us that Marcy was right, but then had to admit human error. He tried to tell us that they couldn't reverse the results, but then had to concede the reversal of Alonso's results. So now he's a sitting duck for the first government that wants to break his monopoly power, and it will be interesting to see if anyone can beat Keir to it. Of course, 2021 was a vintage year for Formula One, because the greatest of all time overcame his treacherous team principal colluding with the opposition to win his 8th title. But as the deluded Malone is finding out, he can't manufacture a title race at will. In a desperate response to falling viewers and revenue since Abu Dhabi, he thought he could use his media platform to fabricate a title race, to mask Crashtappen's procession to a 4th contrived title. However, as we showed in our previous video, he was not able to get this year's contrived title race story to play out in Germany or Italy. In contrast, the whole world was interested in the 2021 title race though, mainly because despite F1's best efforts, Sir Lewis was able to forge a path to his 8th title. Now they are trying to fake a title race between Crashtappen and his busy mate, as if Formula One viewers are susceptible to WWE scripts. However, it appears that the British media are happy to promote this WWE-style scripting. Now, is this because the Belgian title challenger, who has stepped up F1's ladder of greatness, despite not having won a title, is also a British national? The British media appear to have no concerns about this Brit, residing in the Monaco tax haven for financial reasons, despite using this very issue to fuel intolerance of the 8-time world champion. By the way, Crashtappan residing in the tax haven of Monaco does not appear to have affected the Dutch support for their toxic champion either. It would appear that the black eighth-time world champion is the only F1 driver to generate media-induced negativity from residing in Monaco. Furthermore, it is notable that 1 out of the 4 top thumbnails, thrown up by the Dutch Google search for Lando Norris, that came up referencing the title race, featured an image of Sir Lewis, while none of the 5 top thumbnails thrown up by the UK search featured the GOAT. It would appear the British media are more committed to eradicating his legacy than any other jurisdiction in the world. Now, why would this be? Some of you have tried to suggest that the answer is obvious, but if it's so obvious, please provide us with a link to any mainstream media article or video clip stating that. Anyway, back to the title race. As you can see from the evidence provided, the title race is framed in different contexts in the 2 main jurisdictions where there is significant media attention, namely the Netherlands and the UK. The Dutch appear to be coming at it from the perspective of trying to manage expectations about the coronation procession, while the Brits are trying desperately to keep false hope alive. The top story from the Dutch Google search was that of Lando denying that the title race was decided in Singapore. The Dutch reporter makes the excellent point that McLaren race management laid the foundation for Verstappen's 4th title, long before Singapore. Something that corroborates our long-stated conclusion that McLaren have long been running defense for Verstappen. The reporter then highlights the fact that the great Lando was only able to close the gap to his Dutch Bezzy mate by 1 point, during 12 races where his car was deemed to be the faster. And now Malone and his snake oil salesman masquerading as journalists wish to gaslight people into believing that the great Lando can possibly overhaul a 52-point advantage in the remaining 6 races. Moving on to the second article. It notably refers to Hamilton challenging Verstappen at the US Grand Prix. Now that says everything about Lando. But even more significant is the fact that this Dutch article refers back to the 2021 Abu Dhabi showdown. So F1 is tasked with the futility of basking in the glory of the season that they tarnished with the Abu Dhabi ending. The third article points out that it would take a victory by the great Lando, and 0 points for Verstappen in the US Grand Prix, to halve the deficit. But it also points out that anything less would practically confirm the title procession. It is ironic that the 4th article in the top stories from the Dutch Google search is the UK Guardian newspaper. Of course, they also reference the 52-point gap between the supposed title challenger, but critically, unlike the other Dutch references to the gap, the Guardian puts the 52 points in the context of the maximum 180 points available from the last 6 races. Well, this is a disingenuous attempt to misinform, by a newspaper complaining about bad actors, spreading disinformation online to fuel intolerance. With the 52 out of 180 context, they are deliberately misleading their domestic readers about the true nature of the British challenger's chances. To earn the maximum 180 points, their challenger would have to win all the remaining full and sprint races, while setting the fastest laps. If the champion in waiting came second in all the remaining full and sprint races, and the great Lando won them all and took fastest lap as well, Verstappen would win the title by 1 point. So, under this scenario, he will need to finish lower than second in at least 1 race, or amass less than 129 points from all the remaining races, for the great Lando to become the greatest ever by winning his first title. Now let's see how Liberty Media and its snake oil salesman will fare in selling this title race story after the weekend. But whichever way they cut it, the ghost of Abu Dhabi will forever haunt F1, and they can only embark on the path to redemption after justice is served. Forza Ferrari.